Hey everyone, and welcome into a brand new hour of CBS Sports HQ. We got the full squad for you today. Jacqueline D'Agostino here, Haley Sutton, Leger Douzable, and Pete Prisco. Because conference championships, those are about to kick off. We have the Eagles and the Commanders when it comes to the NFC side, and then on the AFC, a huge matchup with the Bills and the Chiefs. They're at it again.
Of course, that one's on CBS, so we're excited for that one. We're excited to see Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, but also in the NFC side, Jaden Daniels. My goodness, he has been so great too. But we are, of course, starting in the AFC. We know what time it is. It is time for some bold predictions, and I love doing this segment when it's Pete versus Leger, because these two know how to bring the fireworks. Of course, we talked about it. It is the Bills and the Chiefs again for a shot at the Super Bowl. So we are going to start with the Bills and some bold predictions there. And Pete, we're going to start with you. You are targeting Von Miller for your bold prediction here. Interesting when it comes to Von Miller. He had a good game in that divisional round 2, but you're expecting him to have 2 sacks and 1 that ends the game.
Well, I was going to start with a Lamar Jackson bold prediction for him, but I didn't want to.
We told you it gets spicy.
I didn't want to do that.
We're starting off on a strong foot here.
I'm going to go with Von Miller having 2 sacks, including 1 in the 4th quarter. Game, sack, fumble, game over.
Really?
And I look at this tackle position, and they've had problems all year long. And when you look at the right tackle, look, everybody thinks he's not the problem. He might be the problem right now. And so Jawan Taylor, when they put Von Miller over there, I think he's going to be able to rush the quarterback and get him on the ground. And Von Miller, this is why they brought him in. And it took him a while to start looking like Von Miller again. Well, he's starting to look like Von Miller again. Last week he didn't. That's not the game for him, because it's a physical mauling type of game, and he's not great in the run like he used to be good in the run. But this kind of game where he can get him on the ground, get Patrick Mahomes on the ground in key situations, I think that Von Miller is going to have a good day.
Yeah, that's a bold prediction, because I can try to remember when's the last time he actually had 2 sacks in one game. But to your point, he has come on strong the last few weeks of the season. Last week, you're right, it wasn't his game. It was a bad weather game, more of a physical run type game. But you're right, 13 seconds is why Von Miller is with the Buffalo Bills. 13 seconds in that divisional round. Kansas City Chiefs came back in 2 passes and went into overtime and then won that game. So they needed a closer, and that's why they brought in Von Miller. So I like that bold prediction.
Real quick, just to follow up on that, it was week 3 against the Jags the last time Von Miller had a multi-sack game there.
Of course it was against the Jags.
They couldn't block anybody either.
Couldn't block anybody, can't get a new head coach, and that's a story for another segment.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, Leger. You know I love Taylor Swift.
I know you do.
And so does Pete. I don't know, maybe not.
No, she's fine. It's just I'm not paying $4,000 a ticket.
And I would pay that, but I digress. You have a prediction that's going to make our girl Taylor Swift maybe a little unhappy in the stands.
Maybe,
uneasy,
right?
Yeah.
Her and Caitlin. We got to throw Caitlin
for sure.
There.
And to me, this is bold. I remember last time we did this, Pete didn't think my predictions were bold enough. So I went real bold right here. I think that Travis Kelce will have less than 5 receptions. And you know why that's bold, Pete? Because out of 23 playoff games, it's only happened 3 times for him. And when you go back to earlier this year, the Bills held him to 2 receptions for 8 yards, right? I think Taron Johnson is going to have a big game versus Travis Kelce. We saw him last week neutralize Mark Andrews. I could see Bobby Babbage and Sean McDermott making sure that they get hands on Travis Kelce at the line of scrimmage. And even though Taron Johnson's an all-pro, they still might keep the safety over the top, because a lot of times when Travis Kelce plays, it's like freestyle football. He just knows how to spot up in zone coverages and hook up with his quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. But for some odd reason, I just have a weird feeling that Taron Johnson is going to neutralize him, and he's going to have less than 5 receptions this game.
And you have to take him away. First and foremost, if you're going to stop the Chiefs' offense, you take him away.
Better.
He had a big day last week. Nuke Hopkins didn't have a catch. Nothing. He didn't have 1. And so I think you take him away and make the other guys beat you. I'm with you. I think that's bold, but it's also possible.
Is that an approval?
That's an approval.
Leger, up to a good start.
All right, that's bold enough, at least so far. So Pete, now to a bold prediction for you. And I remember before going into the playoffs, we were talking about this Bills offense, and you kept saying we haven't seen the best of them yet. We haven't seen the best of them yet. Amari Cooper not all there that much at all in the divisional round, but you have a bold prediction for him for this AFC Championship.
Yeah, he only played 20-something snaps last week. I mean, you make that acquisition and he only plays 20-something snaps. Something's not jiving there. So I think he needs to get more involved. I think he has to get more involved in the offense. I think he will get more involved in the offense. 5 catches with a touchdown this week. I think they're going to get him the football. A lot of times, if you go back in history in this league, when a veteran receiver, doesn't get the ball one week, they get him the ball the next week. And he's not one of those guys, that's going to go out and openly campaign for him. But I do think they're going to get him the football. And remember, the last time they played them, they didn't have Keon Coleman.
Correct.
They didn't have Dalton Kincaid. So now they have the full complement of guys there. But I think Cooper's going to be a factor in this game.
I was going to say that we haven't seen the 3 of them all play together very often this season.
I think that's been part of the issue, right? Because they like to use that 2 tight end set. So now you got a couple of receivers on the outside. When you talk about Samuel, Coleman, and Cooper, who's going to be on the field, I think that's why Amari Cooper hasn't had as many plays. But I go back to that, I think it was week 12 matchup, but it was on November 17th where they played the Buffalo Bills. Now, he didn't have a huge impact, but he had 2 passes down the field. One was on an in-break and dig route, and one was on a stutter and go. And if you know the Kansas City Chiefs defense, they like to play man coverage. Najee Johnson really struggled with him. Now, it'd be interesting because Jalen Watson came back last week, but they kind of had him on a pitch count. It was like 1 series for Jalen Watson, 1 series for Najee Johnson. So that's a bold prediction just because they kind of phased Amari Cooper out of the offense, but he's a guy that's probably the best receiver on that current roster in regards to separating from man coverage and getting open. So he could have a big game if they get him involved in the offense.
Yeah, well, to Jacqueline's point, I'm just excited to see how that whole offense can look. It's the right time for the Bills to be peaking, too, in the postseason.
Well, they didn't even have to use him last week. They didn't even try. I thought they were a little too conservative last week when they had the lead, and if you do that against the Chiefs, he's going to make you pay.
Yeah, you cannot. You cannot
be conservative, especially in the first half.
Let's talk about another guy for the Chiefs who, similar to Amari Cooper, the production maybe hasn't been there recently. We know Kareem Hunt really stepped in a big way for the Chiefs early in the season when they lost Isaiah Pacheco, and I was looking at his numbers. He's coming off of a 20-yard carry there against the Steelers, or 20 yards on his carries against the Steelers on Christmas Day. So, Leger, I believe this is you. You are targeting Kareem Hunt to have a big day this time around.
Yeah, 100 all-purpose yards. And, Pete, I don't know what's going on with Isaiah Pacheco, but he just has not looked right coming back from the injury. And when you look at what Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have done, this is a guy they lean on in the 4th quarter. I mean, he had a rushing touchdown last week in the 4th quarter. In the red zone, they give him the ball. He's capable coming out of the backfield. So my bold prediction for Kareem Hunt is 100 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. The Bills have been susceptible to running backs out of the backfield. You know that, Pete. So Kareem Hunt in the 4th quarter, if this game is tight, when they like to run the football, Kareem Hunt is the guy that's usually in the offense. We saw it even versus the Texans. That's how they closed that game out. It was Kareem Hunt, not Isaiah Pacheco. I think he could have a big game.
That's bold. 2 touchdowns is bold with that number of yardage. But if you mentioned the Bills have struggled with pass catchers, backs out of the backfield, but they've also struggled stopping the run.
That's what I'm saying. I think he could have a game.
I think if the Chiefs, go into this game and say, look, we're going to run the football, then I think you can get to those numbers. If the game gets a little away from him and gets a little loose, then I think he's going to have problems hitting those numbers.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah, Pete, Leger, we certainly appreciate it. More to come from the fellas because we got to hang tight. We have more bold predictions coming up, but instead we're going to talk about the NFC side of that, Haley.
We are. A reminder, this game, the AFC Championship game that we've been breaking down, it is coming your way on CBS at 6:30. So be prepared as this week closes down. We will certainly have a lot more on that game. But we also got to talk about the other side of championship weekend. Jaden Daniels versus Saquon Barkley, round 3. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. Is it the rookie chasing history or the running back chasing revenge? We'll get into that.
All right, but first, Ben Johnson officially introduced as the next head coach in Chicago. As a Jags fan, this really hurts my heart, and I don't want to do this bump.
Look, he's stressed about it, too. Look, he's like,
no, I think he's pretty excited. We're going to take his presser coming up on the other side.